Good morning and welcome to the Basement Tapes.
We've exhausted our travel budget and today we're coming to you from the basement. Today's top stories are
A controversial lecture at St. Thomas turns ugly.
a budget breakdown and what it'll mean for students.
And an in-depth look at mental illness. Last week, St. Thomas University hosted Dr. Yossi Omer, a pro-Israeli expert on the Middle East. Dr. Omer gave a controversial lecture regarding the recent Israeli elections. Megan Walker has more.
I'm standing outside the Kinsella Auditorium where Dr. Yossi Olmert gave his lecture entitled The Israeli Election and Israeli Foreign Affairs. On the day of the lecture, this building was full of campus police and UNV security. Organizers were clearly expecting the protests and disruptions that occurred throughout the lecture. Dr. Olmert began his lecture by discussing the recent Israeli election, but it didn't take long for the topic to turn to Gaza. Dr. Olmert expressed some controversial opinions and rarely stuck to the facts. He said such things as, he said that supporters of Palestine were also supporters of Hamas and therefore bigots. He said that Israel has not occupied Gaza since 2005. These comments drew shouts of protest from the audience, and at several points during the lecture, protesters stood up and displayed signs reading such things as self-determination, not occupation. Several audience members were escorted from the auditorium for causing disruptions. All in all, the lecture was a chaotic mess. Back to you.
A local heritage site could soon look better than it has in years. Jane Erickson tells us why the York Street station might be getting a facelift it so desperately needs.
For York Street train station, the light may finally be coming at the end of the tunnel. It may not be one of an oncoming train, but that light could be one of salvation. On March 14th, the Daily Gleaner reported that there have been talks in City Hall about NB Liquor purchasing the historic York Street train station. Plans have not yet been announced formally, but they would be to renovate the station into a large downtown plaza store. This comes after the Crown Corporation was criticized for closing their King Street location in January. City Councillor Jordan Graham was appointed to the board in charge of downtown Fredericton. He says that the proposed plan would be good for both NB Liquor and the train station.
Really what's going to happen is you're going to have a terrific business model to make a ton of money in order to have any incentive for somebody to take on the environmental cleanup and renovations that need to occur.
J.D. Irving Limited owns the property, but refuses to renovate the decrepit station. Parts of the roof are collapsing and the building is in disrepair, but demolition of the site is prohibited by the Federal Heritage Railway Station Act. Steve Boyko of Fredericton Friends of the Railway says that as long as the station is being renovated, his organization would be pleased.
For a lot of people, it holds a lot of memories and a lot of significance to the history of the area. Railways built our country, and in Fredericton we have so little railway heritage left that I think it's important to preserve buildings like this and to see it restored.
Nora Lacey of NB Liquor told us that should she receive a proposal, it will be reviewed, but any change to their current retail network would have to be approved by the board of directors. Now, the renovation is set to cost more than $2 million, and any decision is at least 6 months away. But for the eyesore that is York Street train station, it seems that any change would be a good one. For Stu Journalism, I'm Jane Erickson in Fredericton.
Oh, I'm fine with it if they buy it and restore it. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of property, and I hate to see it in this state. So whether it be NB Liquor or anybody else that has the resources to properly restore it back to its original state, I think it's a good idea.
I like the idea of it possibly being turned into a liquor store. They definitely have to work on the aesthetic value. Keep the brick layout because it kind of matches with everything here in this part of the city, but definitely if they want to put a liquor store in it, like a quick smoke shop, maybe a corner post, you know.
Yeah, I definitely think they should rebuild it. I think it's a historical part of the city and they should definitely try and save it. Rebuild it and maybe make part of like when people come to New Brunswick or Fredericton, like they want to go there, like make it so tourists can go there and find some extra stuff out about the city, I guess.
It would be nice to see something cultural done with it, and it's a shame to see it go. I hate to see it go.
I would like to see it turn into the giant liquor store that I've heard they're going to turn it into, because I live just over there and I would like to have a liquor store close to me.
UNB is preparing to hold a bus pass referendum. An extra 9,000 students could soon be using the bus to get around Fredericton, as the UNB Student Union is currently holding a referendum to decide whether they will provide students with a year-round bus pass. Under terms of the deal, no student will be allowed to opt out of the $100 pass. If UNB students vote in favor of the pass, it could mean a lot of extra bodies riding on the bus next semester. And STU Student Union President Duncan Gallant says that it might actually be good news.
Happy that UNB students are going to join the bus pass if it means that you'll have an increased regularity of bus service. So in the morning it means there'll be a bus every 8 minutes as opposed to every 20 minutes or something like that. If there's going to be an increase in service, I think this will be a good thing, and I think the transit service would be able to support that. If they're going to keep the same service and have an influx of students, I think it's going to mean that there's going to be a lot of people waiting around, and that's going to be a big challenge for students who are depending on Fredericton Transit to get to their class or exam on time. So as long as there's an increase in service, I think this would be a good thing for STU students.
Staying with campus news now, the cafeteria is using more styrofoam plates than ever before. They say the ceramic plates keep disappearing despite all efforts to go green. Ayada B2C has the story.
Students and staff at St. Thomas University are unhappy with the use of styrofoam in the cafeterias, but no one knows how to eliminate it. Campus-wide, posters, rallies, stickers, and societies are devoted to the idea of conservation. The STU community is encouraged to turn off lights, conserve water, and recycle. But in the STU cafeterias, customers are still throwing out their plates. Cafeteria workers say residents bring the ceramic plates back to their dorm rooms. Some even throw the ceramic plates away. This leaves workers with little choice. They don't have enough ceramic plates, so they have to serve on styrofoam. Tiffany Sanders is a residence advisor in Chatham Hall. She realizes why students like to take their food back to their rooms, but she also knows that the loss of ceramic plates costs the cafeteria money.
I think the only reason why they have these back in now is because they had to, call in and buy more, which is a shame since, all students could have done is just, if they did take the plates back to the room, just easily bring them back and, then they could have just kept using them.
That seems easy enough, but for whatever reason, the plates keep disappearing. The cost might be what affects students most, but waste is a big issue too. Jens Oram is a member of Students for Sustainability. He says styrofoam might cause two major problems to the environment.
The first is the amount of carbon emissions created and hydrofluorocarbons used to actually create the styrofoam in the first place. The second issue would be in the disposal of styrofoam because it's completely non-biodegradable.
Back at the cafeteria, staff members know as well as anyone the trouble with styrofoam. The staffs don't mind students bringing ceramic plates back to their rooms, so long as they don't stay there. Styrofoam might be okay for just take-out meals, but now the cafeteria is forced to serve on styrofoam even when customers choose to stay and eat. Antoinette Isa is a staff member at the STU cafeteria.
Well, we do provide takeout containers, and we prefer they take those. And if they do have to use the glass plates, we like to have them back, please, if they do take them out, if they bring them back, please.
Styrofoam is hard on the environment and the pocketbook, but it's also a health concern. Styrofoam contains many chemicals which are easily transferred from dish to dinner and can build up in the digestive system, causing many health problems. It can cause insomnia, fatigue, and other nervous system diseases. It's especially dangerous for pregnant women since it's unclear what effect styrofoam may have on unborn babies. For now, STU cafeterias will continue to use styrofoam plates until a cheaper, safer alternative is found. Reporting from Fredericton, for STU Journalism, this is Ayata Beresid.